I'm Little Ed.
I'm Dr. John.
And tonight we're going to have a two-parter. We're going to talk about Memorial Day a little bit. And
Yeah, give you a little history on it, let you people know what we haven't been taught about Memorial Day, talk about some of the veterans.
I know there's things I didn't know.
Yep, so let's start the show.
Yep.
Hey, Dr. John, the podcast. Dr. John keeps it straight, making sure it's tight. Together they're a force, a podcast that will so fly, bringing truth and wisdom, reaching for the sky. Hey, Dr. John, Enuff already laid out on the airwaves.
All right, well, we're going to talk about Memorial Day and where it came about, how it came about, and why we actually celebrate it the way we do. If you're a Democratic senator, you should probably pay attention to this.
You know, I learned a lot when we did a little study on this, Ed.
Me too. A lot of stuff that I didn't know.
You know, they don't even teach it in school, don't teach it, you know, people just don't teach it anymore, and things that I think people need to know.
Well, you know, we're taught that it's in memory of veterans that gave their lives for the country and go eat a hot dog.
My grandmother used to call it Decoration Day.
Right.
Way back when I was a little kid.
Right. Well, she wasn't far off. It was originally called Decoration Day, and it actually come about on May 5th in 1868, just 3 years after the Civil War, when they had a ceremony at Arlington, and Lyndon B. Johnson was the one that gave the speech there, and oddly enough, John, there was about 5,000 people in attendance, and that's pretty much what they average now in attendance for the same ceremony.
You're talking what year was that?
1868. So 100 years before I was
Lyndon
born.
Johnson wasn't there. He was in 71.
All right, 66. My bad. I'm looking at all my notes a little weird today,
You're as
guys.
bad as Biden said he didn't have no
See,
whatever
even I
for
can't read
civil
my writing.
airplanes during the Civil War or whatever it was.
Right, that was the problem in the Civil War. They didn't have enough airports. Anyway, Lyndon Johnson, on my bad, in 1966 declared it a national holiday in Waterloo, New York, which is considered the birthplace of Memorial Day. And the reason being is they were honoring a local veteran who had lost his life during the Civil War, and he was kind of popular in town, and they shut all the businesses down, and school was canceled that day in remembrance of that particular soldier.
You know, they said that there was a group of women there, it was back in 1868, they were putting flowers on all the graves for the Confederates, and they felt bad
For the Union.
for the Union soldiers because they had nothing, and they went ahead and put flowers on their graves.
Isn't that crazy?
That's amazing.
Yep,
Maybe that
yep.
was a little part of the healing that started happening in this country after the war.
Right. I think I do believe that had a big part in it, to be honest with you. But then later on, it was made to recognize all of the veterans that gave their lives in defense of the Constitution and this great country, and it's come to known as Memorial Day. But there's one thing that really I found out was the National Day of Moment of Remembrance.
Yeah, that was really interesting, wasn't it?
Yeah, I didn't know that apparently on 3 o'clock local time, wherever you are, we're supposed to have a full minute of silence in remembrance of those who died in service.
Gave their lives up for us.
So we could sit there and have cookouts and stuff.
I had a great-great-grandfather in the Civil War.
Is that right?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Private Henry Cover.
Really?
Yeah. He got captured in Tennessee. He was supposed to be on the Sultania
Was he from Ohio?
from Ohio.
Oh, no kidding.
He was in the Ohio, let me see, I got it wrote down here. He was in Company C, 115th Regiment of the Ohio Volunteer Infantry. So you know what that means, infantry.
Oh, he was a grunt. He was in the
front.
trenches, right?
Yes.
Oh, just go back. It was James Garfield that actually did the first speech at Arlington Cemetery.
Got your notes a little messed up, little
Yeah, I
brother.
don't know how that happened, man,
It's
but,
all right.
but it happened.
You know what else amazed me? That something like 1.1 million Americans have died given service in wars.
Well, and if you stop and think about it, between 600
That's
and
amazing.
800,000 of those died during the Civil War itself.
Yeah.
So that's arguably the bloodiest war we've ever had. Well, when you have Americans killing Americans, the numbers are going to be quite high.
So next year, when you have Memorial Day, remember that 3 o'clock.
Right.
1 minute of silence.
On a lighter note, it's also come that we've adopted that as the unofficial start of summer. which is very good. And I enjoy Memorial Day weekend because here in Ohio the weather's starting to look pretty good. Everything's green, and the moment of remembrance is going to be something that I'm definitely going to take part in from here on out. Now that I've learned about it and heard about it.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys noticed, we've got a little placard up behind us. John Runkle Jr., he was one of our heroes here from our small little town, and all small little towns have servicemen they've lost. And
Fine young man.
I remember when they brought John Runkle back, I even wrote a song about it, which is unimportant, but the heartfelt, the emotions of the people of this small town was absolutely amazing.
It was a very moving day.
How hurt they were. The flags lined the highway, the electric company hung flags over the bridge.
The biggest flag I've ever seen in my life.
People lined up for miles, signs all through the yards, flags flying. It was an unfortunate, amazing experience. I mean, I didn't like it, but
And John was killed in 2011, and you can still find remembrance signs in yards in West Salem to this day. And probably for the rest of our lives, you'll see them signs in yards. It was a pretty moving day.
there he is, First Lieutenant John Runkle. Made it to 27 years old. What a shame.
It was a shame.
Uh,
Gave his life for us so we could enjoy the freedoms that we have in this country. Anyway,
we're going to take a little break. We're going to come back with a 3-minute rant, and then we're going to really
we're going to
get
talk
on,
about something today.
rip on some people that need ripped on. Maybe even like you, Mr. De Niro.
Oh, Bobby D. Yeah. Well, I got some better guys I want to get. Anyway, time out.
So I had a lot of interesting things about Memorial Day, but guess what?
What's that? 3-minute rant.
Yeah, buddy, you
Let's
know what
do
I'm
it.
talking about.
Yep. Today we're going to do something that everybody's familiar with. Passwords.
Oh, passwords.
Right, passwords.
Passwords and internet stuff and all that, and username and all that.
Who the hell made up the rules for this?
My password book looks like a Bible.
Well, you got it, because it gets hacked every 20 minutes if you don't. I mean, you got to have uppercase, lowercase, punctuation,
Yeah.
numbers.
I'm just trying to buy something
Lord.
today. I just want to buy it.
And everything's got to have a password. Your cell phone, your computer, your Xbox, it don't make a difference. It all has to have a password. Just crazy, crazy, crazy.
Yeah, I said I bought this stuff, and then they want a username and a password, and I'm like, why do I got to do that? I just want to buy it.
Right.
And I'm fiddling around, and I find out I don't have an account. I can't start an account. And I'm like, did I buy this thing or not? So I go to my email. I bought it.
I hate that you got to go through 14 different variations of their password before you finally get one that somebody somewhere on the planet doesn't have already.
And don't use the first letter of your password as your capital, because that's what everybody does.
Yeah, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now that's not going to work. You want to know what's really good?
What?
That a lot of people use. I mean, it's going to be weird, but 8675309.
Oh.
Jenny, I got your number, and now homie's got your password.
Passwords are awful, though.
I tell you what, there are some what they call a progression password where you could put like 5 different things in. Our IT guy probably. But
That's what I need. 5 different passwords.
right. This guy's got one that says, I forgot, it's his first one, and the second one's my password, and the third one's 3 times. And then the fourth one is, I don't know, and then the last one is, I'm a complete idiot. He said, nobody's ever gotten through his passwords.
Yeah, I hacked my email one time.
I'm going to call him up, though, because I'm going to.
My password wouldn't work. I called them. I'm telling them what's going on. They're going, oh, we don't know that's you. And I finally argue with the guy. I messed with this for a couple days. Finally, I convinced him it was me, and he says, he says, answer this security question. I'm going, dude, that's not my security question. I didn't answer it. I can't answer none of these. These are my security questions.
My grandma's name ain't Beulah. It's crazy, though. But it's
frustrating.
the world we live in. We got to have passwords for everything because
Password.
everybody's trying to steal your family pictures. And
Remember the good old days when we just bought stuff and we just lived and nobody was trying to steal all our stuff?
we live in a virtual world now.
Passwords, I hate them.
Me too.
That's a
That's
3-minute
it.
rant.
Now the rant's really going to start.
Yeah, so now what are we going to get on to?
We're going to talk about the Trump trial. The
Oh,
Trump
my God.
kangaroo court star chamber going on.
Well, the jury's in what?
Well, they've
In their-
given up for today.
What do they call that?
Deliberation.
Deliberation.
Yeah, they've asked for pretty much all the testimony to be gone over again. So Who
But
knows
they
how
don't know
this
what
is
they're
gonna-
trying him for.
Well, they only need 4 out of 12 to convict him of any of the crime. That's the judge's instructions, which is completely unheard of. And it's a violation of 2 amendments in the Constitution just saying that. This thing will be turned over literally that fast on appeal. That fast.
I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
It seems pretty fishy to me.
Well, it's fishy from the get-go when you figure Matthew Colangelo. Matthew Colangelo was the number 3 guy in Biden's DOJ. And instead of going up the ladder, he went down 7 ladders to be the assistant DA in New York. Go figure.
Well, he's getting paid to.
He basically took Alvin Bragg's job after Alvin Bragg went up to the DA spot.
Alvin Bragg. Now there's a good wholesome fella, huh?
Yeah. Twinkies is I heard his name is. Sometimes he's called. But then you got some other things like Juan Merchant's daughter, who's fundraising off of this whole Trump trial and has brought in close to $90 million. And she's worked for the likes of Adam Schiff and the Democratic California. She's been a Democratic California representative. She runs a major fundraising pack. She's actually worked for Joe Biden at one time in her career.
Did you know that Alvin Bragg, the great DA, 18,478 cases, 15,053 are plea bargained.
Right. Well, they're not going to plea with Trump, boy. I'll tell you that right now.
What's that telling you?
Well,
How many people do they actually prosecute? And then they said that after they plea bargained, they let most of them right back out right away because they slap them on the wrist and crime's running rampant.
I think it's funny that they can't really even tell you what crime they're actually charging him with. You can hear it's a hush money trial, which isn't illegal. I mean, there's not a single media company out there that hasn't paid hush money or to make things go away or disappear or any prominent person, especially a billionaire.
I looked up the vote when Alvin Bragg ran. Okay. The area he's in, 68% Democrat, okay? So I understand he's going to get a good amount of the vote. He got 83%.
Imagine that.
So that seems very surprising to me. I'm not saying it was rigged, but I just find it highly unusual that the area 68% Democratic that the guy gets 83% of the vote.
I'm pretty sure that's the same area that got 100% for Obama in his election. Tell me what the odds of that are. But it's crazy. You got Bradley Smith. He's the law professor who wasn't allowed to testify. And he's also used to be the chair for the FEC, that's the Federal Election Commission. But he's also a Republican, so even though he's an expert and it basically said there's really no crime been committed here, they would not let him testify at all. He was barred from testimony. But we can sit here and listen to Stormy Daniels describe how she talks to dead people.
Well, they only want to hear what they want to hear.
Well,
And they're going to do anything they can to do to stop President Trump from getting back in there.
they're not gonna.
Well,
They can convict him today, it's not gonna stop him. Only thing they're gonna do is cause his DOJ to come back after them in retaliation. I mean, it could. I'm not saying it would, I'm just saying it could. But it should, in my opinion, because this is completely bogus. Every one of these kangaroo trials that they're pulling on Trump is simply election interference. If it wasn't, they would have tried the case 4 years ago.
they had a Biden rally across the street from the court.
All right, with Bobby D.
Well, how much? I mean, why are you doing that?
Well, is that
why
guy
are you going to have a
unhinged?
rally across from the court? I mean, if that isn't that makes it political. Don't show up and have a Biden rally
Well, they were
across
there,
the street.
John, they weren't there because of the trial. They were there because that's where the media is. They said it themselves. They're not there because what's going on behind them. They're there because that's what the media.
If this isn't politically motivated, then it doesn't have to have that.
Well, it's all politically motivated,
Oh
or it
my
would have
God.
happened years ago. You know what I mean? It's not a crime to pay somebody to go away.
And Robert De Niro, he needs to put on a 6-inch high heels and talk some sense.
He hasn't known what sense is for 20 years.
Oh my God, the man! You know, I used to love Robert De Niro movies.
I think if you threw a rig,
he makes me want to puke now.
listen, I'm pretty sure that Robert De Niro and Joy Bear are the same person.
They just
They just put a red wig on.
Lot of
and throw 'em
makeup.
on the view.
yeah, I bet
They
they
sound
are.
exactly the same.
Yeah,
I've
they
never seen
do.
them in the same room together either. So you know.
Yeah, they've never been seen together, have they? That's a possibility. Conspiracy theory number 1, huh? What do you say?
I don't know. They could be twins. I mean, you know.
Oh, they could be twins too. Yeah.
They
never
both
thought
spew
of
the
that.
same stupid, ignorant stuff all the time. So it is what it is.
Well, hate, knows no boundaries.
And, let's talk about Juan himself. Juan Merchant, the judge, who should have recused himself off the get-go just for the fact that he's donated to the Joe Biden campaign.
Well, what about his daughter?
She's raised over $90 million for the campaign since Trump's been on trial.
Yeah, and that's the judge.
Yeah.
I'd love to see who was on the jury.
Well, that alone right there is gonna get it overturned on appeal, because there's definitely a conflict of interest all over the place. We do have two attorneys on the jury. So hopefully, they have an idea, and I have a feeling that's what's going on. That's why they're still in
Depends
deliberation.
where the money is.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what kind of ethics they got.
The one down there in Atlanta, they're doing that.
The Leanna
Fannie
James-
Willis.
Fannie Willis, right?
See her net worth?
Yeah.
How much
Yeah.
it's grown?
Just in the last 2 years.
Yeah, where's that all come from? Well, she said she's got lots of properties, and she's got $600,000 in gold, $275,000 in her bank account, savings account, and her net worth's only increased $2 million in the last year and a half.
Well, I can believe that.
Good investments, lots of properties.
We have a lot of people that are in those kinds of positions that actually make more money than the president of the United States. They actually have
She makes $110,000 a year.
they have aides that make more money than the president of the United States.
She makes $110,000 a year. That's what it said.
Well, that's her salary, but she gets paid from other.
Lots of good investments, and where'd she get the money to buy all the properties?
Well, look, AOC's worth $28 million, and she's been in Congress.
She didn't
what?
have two nickels to rub together when she come to Congress.
She came from a tendon bar to straight to Congress, and now
Oh,
she's
don't even
worth
get me
26
started on
million.
AOC.
Wow.
Enough already.
Yeah, enough already. But it's kind of crazy, we're all waiting to see what happens, and everybody's like, oh, they're going to put Trump in jail. That's never going to happen. Even though he could, Judge Merchant could, he has the ability to do something of that nature, but
Does that mean the 6 Secret Service guys got to go to jail with him?
they would take over an entire wing of Rikers Island. Well, they're obligated to. They have to protect.
Does that mean when he gets
protect
elected that the dignitaries from foreign countries got to go to prison to meet him?
No, he's not going to go to prison. If they convict him today, he'd be released on his own recognizance pending appeal, which the appeal would last about 8 seconds. And if they thought they were going to put him in jail, the Supreme Court would pick it up that fast and put a stay on all of it.
You know how many millions of dollars they've spent on this trial in New York? Taxpayer money.
Man, I can only imagine.
And these people that hate Trump are all for it. And I'm thinking, man, all the good things could be done with that money, and you're having them waste it on this.
Like put it toward your police department.
Crazy
since crime's
stuff.
running rampant in New York City. You're having people pushed in front of subway cars.
Or pay for more immigrants.
609. They had like 698 carjackings in the city of Washington, D.C., and it's only 61 miles. It encompasses 61 miles altogether, and they had basically a carjacking about every 250 yards in that city. So things are bad over there. Things are bad in most of your Democratic-run cities.
Well, they don't have any rules. They have no law.
Well, they do, but it's for regular people. They don't. It doesn't matter about criminals. They sympathize. In Illinois, they just reclassified as, I forget what they called it, but somebody with criminal justice imposed civilian or something. I forget what it was called, but I didn't pay much attention to it because it was just stupid. A criminal's a criminal, no matter what. And you had close to 60 people murdered in the city of Chicago over this weekend. So that in itself says that things are just not right.
Well, I don't know where we're going to go from there.
Well,
Maybe we're going to have a short one this week.
it's
huh?
tough. It's tough.
Oh, and by the way, we were supposed to have 2 veterans come in this week, and unforeseen circumstances. The one's mother had a heart attack. He had to go take care of her, which I completely understand.
Right.
And the other one's got a job, and he had to take over for a supervisor, and he wasn't allowed to miss work.
He's got to lock up.
So they had to graciously back out, which we don't mind. We understand completely. Wish they could have been here.
We will have them eventually because we're going to have some guests on here that, just like us, they have something to say.
Yeah, once we get all the bugs worked out, we'll have some people come in, do some talking,
And there's
really
a-
dig into some stuff.
There's a lot more bugs than we thought there'd be. I can tell you that.
That's getting better.
Yeah, we're getting there. It's just slow going. And you know, today we were actually lucky because we're actually talking about something current. Usually we're a couple days late to the party and talking about something that's already been talked about all over the media and newspapers and amongst everybody else, I guess you could say. Social media's got...
I'll tell you what, though, it's funny. I read through the news articles, and I could definitely tell who's writing about the trial because it completely two different stories. So I guess wherever you're getting your media from, that's what you're going to believe.
Right. It's either a hush money trial, or it's a tax thing trial, or it's a campaign finance trial. It all depends what channel you're
Oh,
watching.
but they lay it on so thick. You know, and it's just getting ridiculous. You can't believe anything you read. You can believe about half of what you see. And I don't know what to say. But anyhow, I guess that's going to be a wrap.
Yep, we're gonna cut it down for this week, and next week we'll be back.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week on
Enough Already.
Dr. John, the podcast flow, turn it rock and check it all.
Joey's right on it.
Oh, yeah, she's getting better.
Our sound girl's taking it up.
Dr. John keeps it straight, making sure it's tight. Together they're a force, a podcast duo so fly, bringing truth and wisdom, reaching for the sky. Hey, Dr. John,